Hey, Billy Bob here. It's Monday morning quarterback, Tuesday, Super Bowl edition, right? So, no, I didn't have the super flu, as I would call it. I wasn't hungover. I didn't overeat. I don't know about you. Did you overeat? Did you drink too much? Did you have over expectations of what you were going to see? You know, I heard a lot of people talking both at the gym and online and on TV. Oh, the game was boring. I turned it off. I didn't watch. I didn't. It's okay if you don't watch. But if you turned the game off because you thought it was boring, then you are one of those people that has these. What do they say? I got to have it now. All about the expediency. The let's score. Let's do. Look, this game was really good for a little over 3 quarters. It was a defensive game. If you want offense, if you want immediate or instant gratification, then no, this game, and you just want scoring, this game wasn't for you. Oh, I should, before we continue, I should address the elephant, or rather the bunny in the room, right? But I'm not going to. Not today. Tomorrow, we'll save that. You'd probably be interested in what I have to say because it may not be what you want to hear. Whether you're right, left, or center, it may not be what you want to hear. But in the end, it's my opinion. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. But let's get back to the game. Like I said, I thought it was a really good game. At halftime, it's 9-0. I heard somebody told me at the gym, oh, I turned it off at halftime. It was 9-0. They were getting killed. I was like, dude, Terry, 9-0. A touchdown. It's 9-7. What are you talking about? Both teams, as my buddy Ed would say, what are you talking about? What are we doing here? I mean, come on. Seattle may have looked a little tougher, but again, it was 9-0. And then in the third quarter, it's 12-0. That's still 2 touchdowns by New England. They take the lead. I mean, look, you got to get to the fourth quarter before there was a touchdown scored, right? And then it goes to 19-0 just inside the fourth quarter. And you go, all right, here we go. It's all over now. Well, in about 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes, about a minute, New England goes down and scores. Now it's 19-7. One more score, it's 19-14. And if they go and get the 2, it's 19-15. Look, they're right back in this game. New England, that is. And then, it kind of falls apart from there. But when you look at the stats, now the stats are a little deceiving because total yards only 4 yards difference. But New England had 65 yards on their last drive where they scored with about 2 minutes, 2:20 to go in the game, just over 2 minutes to go in the game to make it 29-13. So, the yardage, there was some disparity there. But Drake May didn't have a great game. His stats are a little bit better than Sam Darnold. But look, Sam Darnold, he played a really good game. What I mean by that, he didn't turn the ball over. Sam is known, his history in the league is for turning the ball over. And he just didn't do it. And then you had Kenneth Walker III, 135 yards, the MVP of the game. Nice game running the ball. The leading rusher for New England was Drake May with 37 yards. So they definitely dominated on the ground, Seattle that is. And here's an interesting factoid that I knew but I didn't pay attention to, and that is Sam Darnold. Now, when Sam Darnold was drafted, he was drafted in the same class as Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson. And he's the only one of the four to win a Super Bowl. And you might have thought he would have been the least likely to win a Super Bowl. But that's not the way it was. I know some of my buddies over here, Clyde and Janice, down here, Marky Mark, they're all disappointed. They're Massachusetts fans. Eddie at work. So, I feel for them. I think there's a couple things to look at here. Before I get to those couple things, I want to give a shout out to Christian Gonzalez, the cornerback for New England. He was tasked with covering Jackson Smith and Jigba, and he did a really good job on JSN. Now, JSN got nicked up a little bit, but there were some really good plays in the first half, so shout out to Christian Gonzalez on that. What I was going to say, there's a couple things here we need to consider. Number one, I have no idea the odds, but the odds were super high that New England would get into the Super Bowl, right? They had 3 wins last year, and now they got a new coach and a first full-year starter at quarterback, and so it goes. And I think Seattle was about 60-1, I heard. But the other thing, we really, maybe the real hardcore football fans knew this, but the most of the fans, including myself, and I'm somewhere between average and hardcore, right? But I don't know that we really knew how good Seattle's defense was. Now, I heard them compared multiple times this after the game to the 85 Bears. I guess they need to go back and watch the 85 Bears and see how good they were. That said, one of the reasons I don't think we knew as much about Seattle as New England, especially if you're on the East Coast or Central Time to Eastern Time, which is about half the country, is because we didn't see them play as often. And when we did, it's the 4:25 game. Maybe we're not paying as much attention because our team was on at 1 o'clock, or it was an 8, later game, and it's, out west, and yada, yada, yada. But the reality is, what would they call themselves? The dark side or whatever. They're pretty damn good. Good enough to win the Super Bowl. And they had, by the way, they had 6 sacks and 8 tackles for loss, compared to New England, 1 sack and 7 tackles for loss. So that's, let's see, 70,000 people. I have no idea how many people watched on TV. Those ratings aren't out yet. Super Bowl commercials, pretty good. There were some that stood out a little more than others. I'm partial to the Budweiser commercials, the Clydesdales, and little Freebird by Skinner there. But there were some others that were pretty good. And then there were some, like every year, that just fell flat, right? Can you imagine spending millions of dollars, $4, $5, $6, $7 million, and your commercial just falls flat? That's a bummer. Well, tomorrow, stay tuned. We'll talk about halftime. And then once we talk about it, we're putting it in the closet. We're moving on, okay? America, land of the free, because of the brave. Stay focused, America. Billy Bob, peace.